ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ, ನೀವು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಏಷ್ಯಾನೆಟ್ ಸುವರ್ಣ ನ್ಯೂಸ್. ನಾನು ಅಜಿತ್ ಹನುಮಕ್ಕನವರ್. ಒಂದು ವಿಶೇಷ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ. ಇಸ್ರೇಲ್ ರಣರಂಗವಾಗಿದೆ. ಹಮಾಸ್ ಉಗ್ರರು ಸಾವಿರಾರು ರ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ಗಳ ದಾಳಿಯನ್ನು ಆರಂಭಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಭಾರತೀಯರಿಗೆ, ಕನ್ನಡಿಗರಿಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೀತಾ ಇರುವ ಬೆಳವಣಿಗೆಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ಇದೆ, ಕಳಕಳಿ ಇದೆ, ಕಾಳಜಿ ಇದೆ. ಇದೇ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ದಕ್ಷಿಣ ಭಾರತದ ಇಸ್ರೇಲ್ನ ಕಾನ್ಸುಲ್ ಜನರಲ್ ಟ್ಯಾಮಿ ಹ್ಯಾಮ್ ಏಷ್ಯಾನೆಟ್ ಸುವರ್ಣ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ನ ಸ್ಟುಡಿಯೋದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅನ್ನುವ ವಿಷಯವನ್ನು ಅವರಿಂದ ತಿಳಿದುಕೊಳ್ಳುವ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನವನ್ನು ನಾನಿವತ್ತು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ವೆಲ್ಕಮ್ ಟು ದ ಸ್ಟುಡಿಯೋ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್. Our thoughts are with Israel and you are going through a very tough situation.
We are, and thank you for this.
What is the situation is like?
The situation, I think, is horrific. It's really undescribable. Today we're Sunday evening. Saturday morning, 6:30 a.m. Israel time, 9 a.m. India time. Terrorists from Gaza, from the Hamas terrorist group in Gaza, infiltrated Israel from land, sea, and air, went into 20 towns and villages, killing, murdering, taking hostages. Some hostages are still there with the terrorists, and our armed forces, the IDF, is fighting them at the moment. Some women, children, old, elderly people, invalids have been taken into Gaza as hostages. So it's definitely the worst terror attack we've seen. The Israeli government has declared war.
Yes.
And now we are, trying first and foremost to bring the peace and quiet and security back into Israel. And also in the next stage, see how we free the hostages from Gaza and stop this terror organization.
And it doesn't look like a conventional war. The way women are being treated, the women soldiers are being treated, it doesn't look like a conventional war.
Yeah, terrorism is not conventional war. And what I think, speaking for myself, for other citizens, both Israel and India and around the world, I don't think we imagine the horrors that terrorism and terrorists do. It's not a soldier-to-soldier war.
Yes.
It's not. Right, what they were looking for were the children. What they were looking for were the innocent civilians. They obviously also, we have many casualties within our armed forces as well who fought with these terrorists. But this is what they want. Terrorists are trying to undermine society, undermine our lives, hurt civilians. And I think it's things you said also, like you said, women and children. It's not things we expect to see. It's not things we expect to be dealing with. Definitely not as citizens living in our own country. And the army has to now, put an end to it.
And target of terrorists are not definitely military installations?
In this case, they went everywhere they could, both military installations, but it does seem that their main targets where they did infiltrate are 20 villages and towns in South Israel.
And civilian casualties more?
Many. At the moment, we're already over 600 casualties already. Okay. Not to talk of over 2,000 people who have been injured. Some of them, around 300 or so, are in critical condition. And, again, the hostages, the dozens of hostages, they're taken back into Gaza, and, God only knows what their plans are.
Can you tell a common Indian, it is always a question, why don't they settle themselves? Why can't there be a peace? Is there not a possibility at all, a peaceful coexistence?
There is, we've been trying for many, many years, and there have been many things along the way, but I won't talk about now the Palestinian Authority and our discussions with peace there. Hamas, Gaza, is ruled by a terror organization. Israel actually left Gaza in 2005.
Yes.
Israeli forces and military went out. People who were living there went out. We dismantled Jewish temples and took them out. We dismantled Jewish cemeteries and took them out. Israel completely left Gaza alone in 2005. And there they had a choice who to vote in, what happened. And what happened was that Hamas, which is a terror organization backed by Iran, funded by Iran, and Iran might have been guiding it as well, They took over Gaza. They took over the civilian population in Gaza. They took over the government of Gaza. So Gaza is now a place, instead of being controlled by a civilian government that cares for its citizens, is controlled by a terror organization that uses the infrastructure, uses the funding that comes in, uses the people living in Gaza as human shields to protect their terrorist endeavor. And they claim, they're not shy about it. One of the goals of Hamas is to destroy Israel.
Yes.
And they're using all their means. They're using the people living in Gaza to achieve this goal. And we have no choice but to fight it. We have no choice but to remain secure within this.
I have some idea about from where Hamas is getting the funding, but I don't know from where they are getting weapons. 5,000 rockets, 6,000 rockets. That's what we are hearing.
Yeah. These are
they
the
really
numbers.
sophisticated weapons what they are using?
These are the numbers. Some are sophisticated, some are less. A rocket, if you, in these such large numbers, it doesn't
Yes.
matter if the rocket is sophisticated or not.
Yeah.
If the chances are it will hit, it will cause damage, it will kill people, it will kill civilians, it will ruin infrastructure. And we know that Iran is behind this, both in Hamas, and now we're also having rockets, over 2,000 rockets shot from the north, from the Hezbollah terror organization. Yes. That settled itself the same thing within the people of Lebanon, and they're also funded by Iran, and they have been shooting in the last few hours over 2,000 rockets to the north. So Israel is now being attacked both from the south, from Gaza, and from the north in Israel. From the north of Israel, from Hezbollah.
Yes. Of late, I've been seeing Israel's relationship with many Islamic countries is improving, countries like Saudi Arabia. So we were expecting some kind of a peace in your region.
This is what we strive for. We've always said, Israeli government throughout the years have always said, we'll make peace with whoever wants to come and make peace with us. You only make peace with your enemies, right? If we're friends, obviously we talk to each other. We don't need to make peace because we're friends. So peace is a hard thing to make because you make it with your enemies. But anybody who's reached out, and Israel has reached out herself throughout the years, but anybody who was willing, we made peace with. And we saw it with the Abraham Accords just 3 years ago in September. And now we're seeing all the discussions, with Saudi Arabia to get to some sort of normalization. We already are taking steps to this. And people have been asking me today, won't this hurt the peace? Yeah. And I'm saying it shouldn't hurt the peace, right? If we're like-minded countries, we understand that terror shouldn't have any room within our lives. We understand we need to work together to stop it. Then it shouldn't be affecting the peace we already have with the Gulf countries, with the new Gulf countries from the Abraham Accords, or with the discussions with Saudi Arabia. Let's not think about a situation, but if another country had been in a terrorist attack, we would support them and hope that they would defend themselves to the best of their abilities. And this is what Israel is going to do now. Israel is going to first secure its borders, secure the people who are within, get rid of the terrorists that we have, get the hostages, and make sure Hamas infrastructure, the Hamas pays for what they have done.
What I could understand by all the peace treaties you people had in recent years was Hamas has a lesser support base now. Is that true?
I don't know if I'm assuming less because of course less countries. But again, the main body, the main government, the main country supporting Hamas, funding Hezbollah is Iran, and that hasn't changed. I said Hamas says it's out to destroy Israel. Iran government has been saying the same thing. They're working together and they're funding. So even if might be less support, the main supporter and the main perpetrator of this is still Iran. And I saw while I was here waiting for the studio on your channels, people in Iran celebrating the massacre of children, the massacre of women in Israel.
That's really unfortunate. A country celebrating the massacre of women and children of the other countries, that is really disheartening. What is the counter-terrorist operations which are happening from the Israeli side? Any updates on that?
Yeah, as we said, at the moment war has been declared, which gives the government, which gives the army more leverage to work. But so far, since the afternoon, and even earlier than that, and even now, our Air Force is striking specific Hamas command posts in Gaza, infrastructure in Gaza. Again, calls have been going out to the civilian population of Gaza to please stay clear, to please leave to where they can. And we know where these infrastructures are, so we're striking those at the moment. And we'll see. We have to get the quiet back. We have to get peace back.
And as I understand the Palestinian situations, it is very difficult to bifurcate between a terrorist and a common citizen there.
It is this is Hamas's doing. This is what Hamas has since 2005 has been building. It's many of its command centers. Some are underneath hospitals. Many of it's where they keep their weapons. They put it under or next to children's kindergartens.
Yes.
They're doing this, and we see it in Lebanon as well with Hezbollah. They're doing it on purpose to make it difficult to get them. But they don't care, as opposed to the government of Israel that's trying to protect its citizens. They're using their citizens for their terrorist purposes or terrorist targets, which is, heartbreaking in its own way.
Yes. I do understand the organizations like United Nations, their relevance is reducing day by day. Do you have any expectation from them?
Look, the outpour of support we've been getting, definitely
Yes.
from Prime Minister Modi here and the people of India and the different position holder since yesterday, the US support of us. I think almost every country we can think of together here has supported Israel's right to defend itself, has said very, very straightforward condemnations and shock of what this terrorist organization is doing. So if we look at the countries of the world and the leaders, the different leaders from different countries, varied places, varied types of government, they're all at the moment understand what Israel needs to do, and they understand that this sort of terror attack should not be happening.
Yes. We Indians are worried about the Indians living in Israel.
Yeah.
Any update on their condition, any casualties?
At the moment, we don't know, and
Okay.
hopefully we won't hear about any Indian casualties. In the south at the moment, where some terrorists still are, Israel's guidance is to stay at home. In Israel, because we've been facing war for 75 years of our existence, most homes and most apartments have a shelter room, a special place to hide. So people are supposed to stay in there. So whether they're Indian, Israeli, or from any other nationality, right now they need to close themselves in their own homes and houses, maintain quiet and stay in that protected area until further notice. So nobody's getting out at the moment from there. In the north, people have been advised to move towards the center of Israel because of the barrage of rockets from Hezbollah. So hopefully as soon as this ends, as soon as possible, then we'll see what is happening with the foreigners in Israel and who needs to go where.
And any numbers, how many Indians are there in Israel? And
there are quite a few actually in general. Again, I'm not talking about, I don't want to cause panic, not in the area.
Yeah.
But in the Indian students, they're our biggest group of international students that we have from Israel, usually over 500, in Israel, sorry, not from, over 500. In our different universities, in our colleges, a lot of research, PhD students, agriculture, physics, biology, many varied and different subjects. But again, so for now, and we have different workers from India as well, and a lot of exchanges and tourists and business people who go back and forth. Again, hopefully it will remain this way. At the moment, we haven't heard of any casualties from here.
No, we all know when it comes to military technology, Hamas has no comparison with Israeli military. Still, they could surprise you. That is the biggest thing.
That is, yeah. Look, we've been saying it many times, and it's true. When it's not a conventional war, when it's a terrorist attack, right? Even a lone terrorist,
and it is a well-coordinated, pre-planned terrorist attack, because thousands of rockets launched at a time cannot happen. From
they were
small group of people.
But what I was saying, even like a person can become a terrorist if you take your vehicle and decide to run over people due to some belief or some misguided thoughts. So I'm saying, think of what a lone terrorist can do, and we've been suffering for a while now from different smaller terror attacks. So obviously an attack like this, causes just horrendous
what do you think? For how many days it may continue, the conflict?
I hope that within the next few hours we'll hear that the remaining towns, small towns and villages that are still being held hostage and still have terrorists in them, hopefully they'll be cleared. This is my hope.
What about the people who have been taken hostage? Their condition, looks really...
Yeah, we've been watching the same videos and I cannot imagine. My heart is literally being, when I think about it, ripped out. There were, there were teens and people in their 20s in a party. There were families going to temple, because Saturday morning is when we go to temple. There were families who were on their way to temple to pray and were taken. And I cannot, I'm sure that people are involved, different governments are involved, and our army and IDF is there also to do what needs to be done.
The world thinks it as a conflict between Jews and Muslims. Is that so? Is Israel, only of Jews and your army is full of Jews? Something like that?
No, Israel is actually...
No, people, that has been the perception, that this is the fight between Muslims and the Jews.
People have tried to, it's not just a religious conflict. Maybe
Yes.
it's part of a religious conflict. It's an identity conflict. It's a historical conflict. And again, don't expect, or I don't know who expects terrorists or terror organizations to have a whole reasoning for their hatred, to have a whole reasoning for, this is their raison d'etre, is to ruin, to kill, to make civilian populations suffer. And it's not an issue. Israel in itself, we're a very multicultural country. Over 21% of people who are Israelis are Muslim and Arabs. So that's already over 1/5 of us is not Jewish.
Yes.
Then obviously we have a Christian population. We have actually over 150,000 people who are of Indian origin. So we're varied, and we have people from Arab countries, and we have people from Iraq, and people who were, Jews who used to live in Iran and Europe, and Americans. We're very, we came together from everywhere. We lived in Israel. Then for different reasons, historically, we were spread out all over the world because and then we came back to our homeland. So we're very, very varied. And as I said, not even all of us are Jewish.
Exactly.
So it's not trying to think methodically or think linearly when it comes to terror organizations. And yesterday is a horrible, horrible example. It doesn't work. They don't think like we do. They don't think, they have one goal in mind, and they'll do anything to achieve this horrific goal that they have.
Yeah, what is that goal? Killing a Jew and...
Killing Israelis. The people who they murdered are not just Jewish people, right?
Yes.
Well, it's the over 600, it's not just Jewish people. They want to, as I said initially, destroy Israel, but terrorists want to cause havoc, to cause uncertainty, to cause upheaval in our daily lives, to make us scared to go out, to make us doubt everything we know, to not go on as we are. And we'll see how long it takes us to recuperate. We will recuperate. Israel is resilient. It's not the first time or second or third time we're facing enemies who want to destroy us. And we keep on coming back strong or stronger and winning the fight. But at the moment, this battle is just, it's heart-wrenching.
And how about the media? I was watching some of the international media telling, Hamas organization Hamas terrorists as a freedom fighters and other those things.
Yeah, we faced enemies for years, for millennia, and since the inception of Israel, 75 years for the 75 years as Israel, but over 3,000 years as Jews, we faced this as well. We will keep saying our truth. It's undeniable, and we deserve to be in our homeland, in our motherland that's been there for, as I said, millennia and before. We'll keep combating. We'll keep everybody that says we'll come and say our truth. But you can't,
yes.
If it's only talk, let them talk. That's sort of what I think.
No, Indian stand, I have been observing, used to be very balanced earlier. We are with Israel also, we are with Palestine also. Peace has to be established. But this time, the Prime Minister's condemnation of this attack was like, this is a terror attack and we are against it. That was a clear-cut stand. What do you feel about it?
That was very clear-cut, and everybody in Israel, from the government and the ambassador and embassy here, and of course myself and all of us in Israel, and you can see the responses that he got.
Yes.
Really appreciate this. But this is what you have to be. Talk about whatever will come later, but at the moment, this is a heinous terror attack. And it's not right. Whatever your goal is, this is not how you achieve it. This is not the right thing to go and target women, children, invalids, elderly, unarmed civilians. This is not the way to do it. And I think this very clear-cut condemnation has warmed us, is helping us maintain our strength and fight this.
What do you think is coming in between you and peace? Is this just a religious, fanatism or something else?
No, I think I won't get into the whole process now, but I think one of the main things, and Israel has been saying it for years, in order to maintain peace or get peace, with the Palestinian Authority, there needs to be negotiations between the two parties. Okay,
Yes.
so Israelis and representative of the Palestinian Authority need to come together and talk directly, not through mediaries, have to figure it out. And until we can get everybody or get the Palestinians to the table, chances are slim, but they need to come and they need to talk.
No, where does the role of Hamas comes in between you and Palestinian Authority?
Hamas is trying to cause havoc. I mean, Hamas, Hamas, I'm assuming, is trying to kill as many people as it can and trying to cause extreme forces in Israel to maybe rise up and not allow for things to happen. Again, I'm not going to understand why they're doing now and what they're doing now or try to rationalize it. It's not the first time they've attacked Israel.
Yes.
And,
We have read about intifadas.
Yeah.
Do you feel this is one of them?
I don't know what
A
it might
very
lead to.
systematic, thousands of terrorists uprising together and...
This is not an uprising. This is a terror attack by a
yeah,
terrorist
of course.
organization.
Yes.
This is 100% pre-planned, Iran behind it, terror organizations doing it, both Hamas and Hezbollah, an attempt to cause as much damage and as many lives as many Israeli lives to kill as possible.
Yes. Yeah, we know that Jews have undergone persecution all over the world except India, and as an Indian, we feel very proud about it.
Yeah.
What is a normal Israeli's thought about Indians?
Israelis love India, myself included. It's my second posting here in India. You see so many Israeli tourists come here, and so many, and they try to stay as long as possible, and they come back here, and then they bring their families here. And we see now in the past few years more and more young people, not just young people from the high-tech industry or entrepreneurs coming here and trying to form bonds and connections and even move companies to India. There was even a very nice Jewish community right here in Bangalore that we still see remnants of that are kept well. And we're proud of this, and we're happy to see that the people here are also proud of this Jewish heritage. It really does warm the heart.
We'll speak in detail about all those things in some other time. Right now you are under attack. I hope at least your family members and all are safe.
Mostly, yes.
Okay.
We keep praying. We keep praying for this to be over.
Our prayers are with you.
Thank you.
Hope this ends very soon.
Thank you very much for this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tammy. ದಕ್ಷಿಣ ಭಾರತದ ಇಸ್ರೇಲ್ನ ಕಾನ್ಸುಲ್ ಜನರಲ್ ಟಿಮಿ ಬಿನ್ ಹೈನ್ ಏಷ್ಯಾನೆಟ್ ಸುವರ್ಣ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ನ ಸ್ಟುಡಿಯೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಸ್ರೇಲ್ ತಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿನ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿಯ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕಳವಳವನ್ನು ವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದರು. ಭಾರತೀಯರ ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥನೆಗಳು ಇಸ್ರೇಲ್ನ ಪರವಾಗಿದೆ. ಇಸ್ರೇಲ್ ಪ್ಯಾಲೆಸ್ತೈನ್ ಮಧ್ಯದ ಈ ಕದನ ಆದಷ್ಟು ಬೇಗ ಮುಗಿಲಿ. ಹಮಾಸ್ ಭಯೋತ್ಪಾದಕ ಸಂಘಟನೆ ನಡೆಸಿರುವಂಥ ಈ ದಾಳಿ ಇಸ್ರೇಲ್ನಿಂದ ತಕ್ಕ ಶಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಈ ವಿಶೇಷ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಮುಗಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ನೇರ ದಿಟ್ಟ ನಿರಂತರ ಸುದ್ದಿಗಾಗಿ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇರಿ ಏಷ್ಯಾನೆಟ್ ಸುವರ್ಣ ನ್ಯೂಸ್.
ಇದು ಏಷ್ಯಾನೆಟ್ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತಿ.
ನೀವು ನೋಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಏಷ್ಯಾನೆಟ್ ಸುವರ್ಣ ನ್ಯೂಸ್.